Good morning, beautiful souls. I'm going to have another go at doing a video for you today. I hope you like it. I'm not sure how this is going to work out. I'm not sure quite how it's all going to come out. We'll just have to go with it and see what happens. I started off thinking about something I've written about these woke people and the difference between woke and awakened. And when I wrote about it recently, I had people accusing me of causing division between the woke and the awakened. And that got me thinking about division. And I write in my book, the whole point of my book, really, my Love Not Fear book, is if we can all come together and unite in love, we can change the world. That's the whole point of the book. And yet I'm faced with division all the time, and I can't escape it myself either. I think most people in the world, want a better world, a fairer world, more equality, and they just have different ideas of how to achieve it. And there are these two basic different camps, the woke camp and the awakened camp, and it can also be called the globalist camp, or even the left-wing camp, and the nationalist or right-wing camp. And then we come into a whole load of other problems because we run into words like nationalism. What does that mean? What does equality mean? I mean, I've written about equality and I've had people come back at me, and maybe they're just trolls out for a fight for the sake of having a fight. I don't know. But they've come back at me and they've said we can't have equality and equality would be boring, and they think equality means we all live little carbon copy lives, and that's not what I mean by the word. What do I mean by the word equality? I mean lack of discrimination. I mean a group of people apply for the same job, and who gets the job? Well, the one with the most experience and the best qualifications, obviously, regardless of race, religion, gender, or a whole bunch of other protected characteristics under the Equality Act. That's what I mean by equality. Doesn't mean we all have to end up as carbon copies of each other. But people use these words differently. And then we have the word I used just now, nationalism. Now, what does that mean? Now, to me, it means the opposite of globalism. I use nationalism to mean wanting all the nations of the world to be free and independent, cooperating together in friendship. That's what I mean by nationalism. But academics, the words we use, if you look in most dictionaries, most modern dictionaries, you look on Wikipedia or wherever you look for your definitions of words, they've been written by, the words have been defined by academics and in academic institutions and the universities. I mean, even the Oxford Dictionary is connected with the Oxford University. and their offices are doors away. And academia has since World War II been increasingly infiltrated by left-wing globalists. So they define the words to suit their own agenda, their own highly biased agenda. Words like progressive and populist. I mean, what do those words mean? They mean nothing really. They're just silly words. But the people that define these words, they want us to think that the left-wing globalist agenda is progressive, and that the right-wing, if you want to call it that, nationalist agenda, in the way I've used the word, is populist. Well, last time I looked, we were at least nominally living in a democracy. And a democracy, by definition, progresses in the most popular direction. We have to be aware of the words that we use. I mean, I don't think of myself as left-wing or right-wing particularly, although I'm very anti-globalist, and I believe in, for as long as the present system of nations persists, that each one should be free and independent. Does that make me a right-wing? I don't know. I wouldn't have thought so. The way I stand up for equality, people on the left tend to assume I'm one of theirs. But these words have changed, the meanings have changed. I mean, when I was a boy, we had left, right and centre. We had, here in Britain, we had the Conservatives on the right, Labour on the left, and the Liberals in the middle. You look at dictionary definitions of liberal today, and it means a right-wing ideology. And at the same time, the left are calling themselves liberals. Oh, it's the words, the way the words are used today, it's just gone crazy. So what do the woke people want? What indeed? So much mixed up with the Marxist groups. They're not really awakened at all. They're the PC lot that want to control what we're allowed to say and what we're allowed to think. I mean, when I was growing up, that was called Nazism or fascism. Now they're trying to redefine fascism as something right-wing. So, something I do write about in my book, and I mention it several times in different chapters because it's important, is the standard model of politics that we're all familiar with, the left, right, centre model of politics. And if you're just talking about the Conservatives and the Labour, or the Republicans and the Democrats, or whatever it is in your country, the model works fairly well. But if you extend it out into communism and fascism, the model breaks down completely because it tends to put communism on the far left, the ultra far left, and fascism on the ultra far right. which is nonsense because you can't get a cigarette paper down the crack between communism and fascism. They're the same, just two different faces of totalitarianism. They both belong, excuse me, they both belong on the left as far as I'm concerned. So what do you put on the right, on the extreme right? Well, how about anarchy in its correct usage? To mean freedom from government, freedom from dogma, total absolute freedom based on enlightened self-interest. And maybe one day we'll get to that, and I hope we do, because really that's what I want. But I know we're not ready for it yet. As a people, we're just not ready for it yet. We stand at a crossroads. No, we don't. We stand at a fork in the road, a Y junction. We can't go back. We've got to go forward. We've got to take the left fork or the right fork. And the left fork would take us into the woke route towards greater government. Ultimately, one totalitarian world government, imposing one-size-fits-all laws on all the different nations of the world. The nations of the world will disappear. Our different cultures would disappear. We're seeing that now. We're seeing it already. We can see the agenda. That's what the New World Order agenda is all about. That's why mass uncontrolled immigration is being forced on traditionally white countries. I'm sorry, it's not. Doesn't. I mean, you don't see it in the black countries. It's to destroy our culture, and all this nonsense now that's being pushed down kids' throats about gender politics, about being gender fluid, about being able to change their gender if they want to before they're old enough to know what the hell's going on. It's trying to destroy our identity as men and women. It's trying to bring about a new world order, but a brave new world in the Huxley sense. If you read that book, and now we've got Black Lives Matter and Antifa with their agenda to try to destroy the nuclear family. It's all part of a Marxist agenda. And the other route, the right-hand fork, the Y fork, takes us towards freedom, to ultimate anarchy in a world that's capable of dealing with anarchy excuse me. But that's a long, long way off. And in the short term, it means a nationalist route, because in the sense that I use the word, which I consider to be the true meaning of the word. Away from globalism, away from totalitarianism. If you want freedom, if you want democracy, then it will work better in a small group. If you've got 50 people, 20 people living on a big farm somewhere in some sort of community. And they sit around the kitchen, well, several kitchen tables, once a week, once a month, and talk about their issues and have a show of hands. And I mean, that's democracy, that's real democracy. The bigger the population, the harder it is to maintain that. You can't have direct democracy, you have to have representative democracy, and then you get into corruption. Politicians can be bribed, they can be bought, and most of the current politicians in the world have been bought. And the bigger the country, the less the democracy, the weaker the democracy. You just try to imagine doing that on a world scale. There's no way it would end up as totalitarianism very, very quickly. So if we take the right-hand fork, we're going to a world, at least initially in the interim period, when the nation states are reinforced. They don't cooperate together. Well, they cooperate together in a friendly way, in an informal way, but they don't form supranational states like the European Union, which turned out to be completely totalitarian very quickly. And this is the awakened route. Free people, free thinkers, free speech, open debate, no platforming of speakers at universities. Everyone gets a chance to speak, and everyone gets a chance to listen and decide for themselves what they think is right and wrong. Who's telling the truth? Who's telling the porkies? No, I think I've actually covered what I wanted to cover today. That's it. Have a great day. See you all again soon. Bye.